Hey everyone, in this video we'll be talking about the story of the Ashbringer. I've never done these sort of videos before, but honestly, I got inspired by Platinum and I've recently gotten more into the lore. So please let me know in the comments below what you think about this one, and if you enjoy it, leave a like and subscribe to the channel, because it honestly makes a huge difference. But anyways, let's get into it. Our story begins during the Second War in Blackrock Spire. The Siege of Blackrock Spire was one of the bloodiest battles between the Alliance of Lordaeron and the Orcish Horde. In this alliance was the Order of the Silver Hand, and amongst them, a paladin called High Lord Alexandros Mograine. During the battle, Alexandros noticed a warlock with immense power coming from a crystal, so he ordered one of the troops to shoot him down.
You up there, target the warlock!
Enemy spotted, sire.
After the warlock had died, he dropped the crystal and Alexandros decided to pick it up. However, as soon as he had picked it up, one of his hands started to disintegrate, and not even his healing powers worked. Even though he was advised to leave the crystal because it was an instrument of evil, he still believed it could be commanded by the light. So he took it with him and kept it a secret for many years to come. The Alliance of Lordaeron had won the Second War, but a new war was on the horizon. Mograine had two sons, an elder one named Renault and a younger one called Darion. Renault reminded him of himself, but Darion was probably his favorite son. He reminded him of his wife who had died during childbirth. You see, when Darion was born, he almost didn't make it. His father had to rush to the river to make him breathe again. Fairbanks had come to tell him about the scourge. Alexandros told him that he had something on his mind, a discussion he's been meaning to have for quite some time, and perhaps that time was now. He was referring to the crystal that he had found during the Second War. A few days later, they met in Hillsbrad Foothills to discuss what they could do against the scourge. When Alexandros showed the crystal to the other members, they wanted to destroy it, so they started channeling their holy spells. But instead of destroying the crystal, it consumed the light and turned it into a manifestation of holy light. It even healed Alexandros' hand.
So it will be from this blessed crystal we'll forge a weapon to cast down the undead.
As soon as he had finished his sentence, Lord Commander Deathrohan came bearing with some bad news. He told them about the calling of Stratholme, and that Arthas had suspended the Paladin Order.
Glad you could make it, Uther.
Watch your tone with me, boy. You may be the prince, but I'm still your superior as a paladin.
As if I could forget. Listen, Uther. There's something about the plague you should know. Oh no. We're too late. These people have all been infected. They may look fine now, but it's just a matter of time before they turn into the undead.
What?
This entire city must be purged.
How can you even consider that? There's got to be some other way.
Damn it, Uther. As your future king, I order you to purge this city!
You are not my king yet, boy. Nor would I obey that command even if you were.
Then I must consider this an act of treason.
Treason? Have you lost your mind, Arthas?
Have I? Lord Uther, by my right of succession and the sovereignty of my crown, I hereby relieve you of your command and suspend your paladins from service.
Arthas, you can't just...
It's done. Those of you who have the will to save this land, follow me. The rest of you, get out of my sight.
You've just crossed a terrible threshold, Arthas.
Jaina?
I'm sorry, Arthas. I can't watch you do this.
Even though the paladins were suspended, they still wanted to fight against the scourge. They decided to make their way to Ironforge and asked King Magni Bronzebeard to craft a weapon of the light, a weapon they could use against the scourge. A few days later, they made their way to Ironforge and met with King Magni. He explained that his brother Myrddin had been killed by Arthas. He knew he couldn't bring him back, but he could craft a blade whose sole purpose would be to kill the undead scourge. He agreed to craft a weapon, and his hammer hit the forge over and over again. Once it was done, he told them that a finer blade had never been crafted by his hands.
A finer blade has never been crafted by my hand. I only hope it does not come too late. A griffin rider brought words to me only moments ago. King Terenas is dead.
Arthas had killed his own father, and a new war had begun. Alexandros rushed back home to see if his two kids were still alive, because the Scourge had made its way to Lordaeron. Luckily, they had escaped to Heartglen. As soon as he stepped out of his house, he saw a Scourge army come out of the woods towards him. In an instant, the battle began, and just as swiftly, it was finished. The sword had turned the Scourge into ash, and from this day on, the man and the sword would be called the Ashbringer. The Third War had begun, and Stratholme was overrun by the Scourge, so Alexandros, Saidan Dathrohan, and some others had made their way to the city to cleanse it from the undead Scourge. While they were fighting their way through Stratholme, Dathrohan got separated and ran straight into the Dreadlord Balnazzar.
I've been waiting for you, Paladin. You are out of your league, Paladin. You cannot fight my will. You are mine. Know that I will rip the soul from your flesh and make your body my own. You think this is over, Paladin? Our journey together has just begun.
His plan was not only to kill Dathrohan, but take control of his body and infiltrate the Paladin Order and manipulate it from within. While Renault was laying sick in bed, Balnazzar tried to manipulate him by telling him that he was destined to be a leader. His father didn't care for him, and Darion would always be his favorite son. Eventually, Renault believed everything Dathrohan had to say, and told his father and Fairbanks that Darion had been captured in Stratholme. They hopped on their horses and made their way to the burning city, right into the ambush Balnazzar had planned. When they arrived at Stratholme, they got surrounded by the Scourge. They fought and fought, Fairbanks fell to the ground, and eventually Alexandros fell to his knees due to exhaustion and fatigue, and dropped the Ashbringer. Moments later, he could feel the Ashbringer through his chest.
Renault, I was wrong about you, boy. You are nothing like me.
I don't want to be you. I'll be greater than you ever were. Now I can become the man you never thought I would be. Due to this betrayal and act of evil, the Ashbringer would no longer be a weapon of the light and would become corrupted. After Renault had killed his own father, he rushed back to Heartglen to tell Dathrohan that it was done. Dathrohan told the others that the Ashbringer had fallen, and while they were discussing how to revenge him, Fairbanks had made his way back. He had survived Stratholme. It was you, Renault, that killed Alexandros. I was there. I saw it with my own eyes. The Ashbringer thrust through your father's back. Dathrohan interrupted and told them that Renault had been in his care, so he couldn't have done it. He then questioned how Fairbanks could have survived the Scourge and accused him of being infected. Some of the other members, especially Maxwell, were a bit suspicious. Something didn't add up with what Dathrohan was saying. So they decided to split up the order because they didn't like what it had become. Maxwell would create the Argent Dawn with Darion, and Dathrohan aka Balnazzar would make the Scarlet Crusade with Renault, who also became the first commander to be promoted. Poor Fairbanks would be thrown into the dungeon and be left to die. After Alexandros Mograine had died in Stratholme at the hands of his own son, Kel'thuzad brought his body back to Naxxramas to resurrect him as a Death Knight. The man who was once feared by the Scourge would now be the greatest champion of the Lich King and become one of the Four Horsemen, wielding the corrupted Ashbringer. One day Darion met a troll named Zebra Hexx who told him that he had a dream about a floating fortress above a burning city. He told him that his father was still alive. You see, the troll had met Alexandros back in the Scarlet Monastery when he was taking shelter. He started reading the books within the library and learned the ways of the light. He eventually got captured, and Alexandros was the only one who gave him a chance to speak and saved his life.
He speaks the truth. The light has blessed him. His life will be spared.
After the troll had told Darion about his dream, Darion and members of the Argent Dawn hopped on their griffins and made their way to the floating city above Stratholme.
Who dares violate the sanctity of my domain? I hear little hearts beating. Soon the beating will stop. Patchwork want to play. You are too late. I must obey.
In Naxxramas, they had to fight their way to the Four Horsemen. They had a few casualties, but they eventually made their way to Alexandros. His father was not the man he knew. He had been tortured and taught to love no one. Love was nothing but a fairy tale. They fought, and eventually Alexandros was killed. For a moment, the only sound they could hear was Darion grieving. The soul of Alexandros that was captured inside of the Ashbringer told Darion to run and find Renault in the Scarlet Monastery. Darion made his way to the monastery, and Renault was unhappy to see him, because in his eyes, he was a traitor. He told the guards to remove Darion from his side, but before they could remove Darion, the soul of Alexandros that was captured inside of the Ashbringer came out seeking justice for his death.
Did you think your betrayal would be forgotten, lost in the carefully planned cover-up of my death? Blood of my blood, the blade felt your cruelty long after my heart had stopped beating, and in death, I knew what you had done. But now the chains of Kel'thuzad hold me no more. I come to serve justice. I am Ashbringer.
Renault begged for forgiveness, and at that moment, Alexandros Mograine killed his own son and forgave him. As quickly as the soul appeared, it vanished back into the sword, and all of Darion's hopes were cast once again to shadow. This is the story of how the Ashbringer came to be, but the story is not over. Next time we'll talk about Lysthope Chapel, Tyrion and the Lich King. If you don't want to miss the video, make sure to subscribe to the channel and let me know in the comments below if you enjoyed it or have any feedback. Thank you so much for watching guys, and may the light be with you. Take care.